You can start, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So today, Murli sir is not present, so I'm discussing about the electrostatic problems. Okay. So I'll give you some problems you have to solve and get the answers. Fine. Now, question number one. Okay. Question number one is find the minimum force, minimum possible force, minimum possible force. Find the minimum possible force between the two charges. Between the two charges. Okay, can you find the minimum possible force between the two charges? Okay, so I'll give you around 2 or 3 minutes. You can solve that problem now. Okay, to find the minimum possible force between the 2 point charges or two charges. Okay, I hope most of you have got the answer. Okay, so let us try this problem. So what is the minimum charge present? The minimum charge present is what? What is the magnitude of minimum charge? The minimum charge which is present is electron. The minimum charge is electron. Okay, and what is the value of the charge? What is the value of the charge? Sorry. Okay, so what is the value of charge of electron? That is equal to minus 1.6 into 10 to power minus 19 coulomb. Okay, so minimum possible force will be equal to what? K q square by r square. Now minimum possible force means this r should be what? Minimum that should be what? Equal to 1. Okay, so we can say like k is value is 9 into 10 to power 9. Q square is what? 1.6 into 10 to power minus 19 coulomb and divided by r square. R is the minimum distance between the 2 points. It can be 1 meter, it can be anything, but we are taking the charge as distance between 2 point charges r. Therefore, the minimum force will be equal to kq square by r square. Okay, fine. I hope most of you have got the answer for this. Okay, now next problem. The next problem is that we have 4 point charges. We have 5 charges basically. The 4 point charges are placed at a square. The 4 point charges are placed at a square of distance a. Of distance between them is a. Okay, 4 point charges are present. Okay, so we can change like this is a, b, c, and d. So it is a square of side a, and we are placing charge q, q, q. Okay, now if I place a charge plus q at the center, then what is the net force? What is the net force acting on that charge point? That point, that charge which is placed at the center. What is the net force acting on it? Okay. So what could be the answer for this? Okay, try to solve and get the answer for that. Find the net force acting on the charge which is present at the center of the 4 point charges which are placed at the square. Okay. So I think you all have got the answer for this. Fine. So I think the answer should be equal to 0. Why it should be 0? The net force should be 0. Why? Because the charge which is present on the D will try to repel with some force F. And what is the value of that force? That would be equal to K Q square by distance between the 2 point charges. Now, what is the distance between the 2 point charges? This is A, this is A. The diagonal will be root 2A. So, what is the distance between these 2 point charges? Say center is O. That would be equal to what? Root 2 by 2. That is A by root 2. So can we write this as what? A by root 2 whole square. Okay, that is a force F acting on the charge at the charge Q due to this point D. Now, if you look at this point B, it is also acting there will be force between these 2 point charges, and this point B will try to repel this charge with the same magnitude. Since both the charges are equal and opposite, the net force becomes zero. Similarly, from point A, the force acting will be along this direction, and from C it would be along this direction. So therefore, these 2 point charges will get cancelled out, and these two force will get cancelled out. Therefore, net force would be equal to 0. Okay, fine. I hope most of you have got the answer for this also. Now, next problem. Okay, the next problem is somewhat tricky. Okay, let us take a clock. Let us take a clock. Okay, fine. This is a clock. Fine. Now, on this clock, we are placing the charges. Okay, like 12. See, if you look at the clock, this will be a 12. This would be 1, 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, like this is a clock. Okay, so we can say numbering is there 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are placing the charges of the magnitude equal to his number. Like in 1 I have placed 1 coulomb charge. In 2 we have placed 2 coulomb charge. 3, 4, 5, 6 coulombs, 7, 8, 9, 10 coulomb, 11, and 12 coulomb. Okay, fine. Now we are placing a charge of 1 coulomb at the center of the clock. Can you find the net force acting on that point charge? O. Find the net force on point charge O, which is at the center of the clock. Center of the clock. Can you find the answer for this problem? Okay, I'll give you around 5 minutes to solve this problem and try to get the answer. So this is basically a clock. Okay, a clock. In that we have placed 1 coulomb charge at the center. Then we place uh, mean charges on the edge of this clock. That 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb, 3 coulomb, like this. You need to find the net force acting on the center charge. Okay. Try to solve this problem. This is a very good problem of electrostatic. Okay. So let us do this problem now. I think most of you have solved the problem, so I'll do this problem now. Okay. Now look at this. Look at the. Now we know that one thing, that in clock, 1, 1 and 7 are exactly opposite to each other. 2 and 8 are exactly opposite to each other. 3 and 6 are exactly opposite to each other. 4 and 10, 5 and 11, and 6 and 12 are exactly opposite to each other. Okay, that all we know. Okay, if we take the radius of that, if we take the radius of this clock as A, okay, I did not mention the radius. You can take radius A. Okay, if I take this radius as A, then now if you look at this point, if I take only 1 coulomb charge and 7 coulomb charge, okay, now we find the force acting due to these two pairs of charge, 1 coulomb and 8 coulomb. Okay, so if you look at this, 1 and 7, okay, the force between 7 and 1 will be along the direction, along this direction. Okay, so if I take this the force between 1 and 7 will be along this direction. Okay, and what is the magnitude of that force? The magnitude of that force will be equal to how much? K Q is 1 coulomb, KQ, then 7 coulomb by A square. That is the magnitude of the force due to 7 coulomb on 1 coulomb, and direction would be along 1 coulomb charge. Now, if I find the force of 1 coulomb charge on the center, that would be equal to F equal to, say this is F1, this is F2. F2 will be equal to K 1 coulomb into 1 coulomb by A square, by A square. Now, can we find the net force acting due to 1 coulomb and 7 coulomb? Since we know that 1 and 7 coulomb are exactly opposite to each other, the net force acting on the center due to these two charges, the net force acting on the center due to these two charges will be equal to K into 6 by A square. Am I correct or not? It should be equal to K6 by A square. That is a force, that is a net force acting on due to 1 and 2 coulomb charge. Similarly, if you look for 2 and 8 coulomb charge, that force due to 8 on center will be what? 8 K by A square. And for 2 coulomb on this will be what? K into 2 by A square, which means net force due to these two charges will be again be having the same magnitude, that would be equal to K into 6 by A square. Similarly, for 3 and 9, 3 and 9 will be same. That would be again, that would be again 6 into K by A square. So if you look at this, if you look at this clock, the net force acting on this clock will be one force will be 6. The magnitude will be same. Magnitude of both all the forces are same, and direction will be what? 1 coulomb towards 1 coulomb, 2 coulomb, 3 coulomb, 4 coulomb, 5 coulomb, and 6 coulomb. Okay, so if we draw the net force, we can write like this. Okay, so wait, 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 wait. Okay, so if I draw here, we will get what? One force like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All will have the same magnitude: F, 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 and F. Okay. Now, we know that this is this angle would be how much? This from 12 coulomb charge to 3 coulomb charge. What is the angle between them? 90 degree, and it is divided by 3 equal parts, which means this would be what? 30, 60, and 90. 30, 60, and 90. Which means what? This angle would be equal to how much? 30 degree from the horizontal line. This would be 60 degree. Same here. This would be 30 degree. This would be 60 degree, and this would be 90 degree. Okay. Then we find the component of the forces, and after finding the component, we get a net force, which was equal to F plus 2F cos 30 plus 2F cos 60 degree I cap minus F J cap. Okay, that is the net force acting on this charge, which is present at the center of the clock. Okay, did you understand this problem or not? So if you look at this, it is a very good problem which can be asked in your JEE exams. Okay, now next problem. If you have any doubt, you can ask, you can message. Okay, now next problem.
Upmanis sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and the messages actually they can send only to me, that like a host. You give your phone number later. If there is any doubt, they will contact. They will WhatsApp you. That will be
Okay,
better.
okay, sir. Okay,
Fine.
okay, sir. I'll give. Okay,
You
okay,
can write it there, your phone number, so that they can ask the doubts later on.
okay, Okay, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think if you have doubt in this particular problem, so you can write my phone number. You can message me if you have doubt in this problem. Okay. This is my phone number 9467608237. So if you have any doubt in this particular problem, you can ask me. Okay, fine. You can make a note of this phone number. Now next problem. Okay. Now let us take an origin here. Like this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. Okay. Now we are placing 1 coulomb charge at the origin. 1 coulomb charge is placed at the origin. Then at a distance of 1 meter, we place 1 coulomb charge. At a distance of 2 meter, we place 2 coulomb charge. Okay. At the distance of 3 meter, we have placed 3 coulomb charge. Like this, we are placing the charge up to 10 meters. We have 10 coulomb charge. Okay. Like 1 coulomb, 1 meter, 1 coulomb, 2 meter, 2 coulomb, 3 meter, 3 coulomb, 4 meter, 4 coulomb. Like this, we are placing the charge up to 10 meters. Okay. Now you need to find the force at the origin. The force, the net force acting at the origin due to these charges. Okay, due to these charges, what is the net force acting on the origin? Okay, so try to solve this problem. Okay, did you understand the problem or not? Origin we have placed 1 coulomb, then at 1 meter we have placed 1 coulomb charge, at 2 meter 2 coulomb charge, 3 meter 3 coulomb charge, 4 meter 4 coulomb, 5 meter 5 coulomb. Like this we have placed up to 10 meter 10 coulomb charge. Now we need to find the net force acting at the origin. Okay, try to solve this problem now. So I'll give you around 2 or 3 minutes to solve this problem. I have given you a WhatsApp number. You can ask me. Okay. Okay. So let us do this problem now. See. Okay. Now we need to find the net force acting on this charge at the center. Now look at this. The charge due to the charge due to the origin on the origin due to 1 coulomb charge will be along this direction. And what is the magnitude of that charge? That would be equal to k 1 square by 1 square. So the force acting the force acting by 1 coulomb charge which is placed at the center due to 1 coulomb is given by k 1 into 1 by 1 square. Similarly, this 2 coulomb charge, then force due to 2 coulomb charge on 1 coulomb charge will again be repulsive force. Again be repulsive force. And what is the magnitude of that charge? The magnitude of that charge will be equal to plus k 1 coulomb charge which is at the origin into 2 2 by square. Okay. Similarly, due to 3 coulomb charge, it would be what? K 1 into 3 by 1 square. Like this we are adding and we are getting up to k1 into 10 by 10 square. Okay, so we can get here as the magnitude of that force k common. So we can write here as 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to, sorry. Okay, okay, so what is the net force? That would be equal to k common 1 plus 2 plus 2 by 2 whole square plus 3 by 3 whole square up to 10 by 10 whole square. So we can write here as k 1 plus half plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 up to 1 by 10. Okay, so if we add this, we'll get the net force acting on the point charges. Okay, now in the same question itself, if I change the data, okay, like in the same question, if I change the data, 2 coulomb charge, if we change the data of the same question itself, that in 1 coulomb charge we place at 1 meter we place 1 coulomb charge, at 2 meter we place 8 coulomb charge, at 3 meter we place 27 coulomb charge, and at 10 meter we place 1000 coulomb charge. Can you find the net force acting on that point? We have simply changed the data, the remaining question remains same. What is the net force acting at the origin? Okay, the method is same. Okay, okay, so the method is same. So let us solve this problem now. That the net force F net, the F net due to first charge, that would be equal to k 1 into 1 by 1 square. Then the force due to second charge which is at 2 meter, and 2 meter is 8 coulomb charge. So what is the force acting by this charge which is placed at a 2 meter? That is k 1 into 8 by 2 square. Similarly, for third charge, that is k 1 into 27 by 3 square, like this, up to k 1 into 1000 by 10 square. Okay, that is the net force acting on the charge which is placed at the origin. Okay, now can we take k into 1 as common? If we take k into 1 as common, we'll get equation like 1 plus 8 by 4 is 2, then 27 by 9 is 3. Similarly, we have this 64 by 4, it will come as 4. Like this, it will go, it will add up to 10. Okay, then we'll get the net force k into 1 will be equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. It becomes AP, and if it becomes AP, then the magnitude of will be equal to 10 into 11 by 2. Therefore, the answer will come as 55 k. So that is the net force acting on the charge which is placed at the origin. Okay, fine. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay, next problem. Okay, next problem is that rod. We have a rod of length L and charge is Q. Rod of length L and charge Q. Now we place a point charge Q at a distance of A from one end of the rod. Say rod is AB length. Then from B, the point charge Q is placed at a distance of A. Find the force on that charge Q. Find the force on charge Q. Okay, so we have a rod whose length is L. The charge on the rod is Q. The charge on the rod is Q. Okay, the charge on the rod is Q, and we are placing a point charge Q at a distance of A. So we need to find the net force acting due to this rod. Due to this rod. Okay, try to solve this problem now. In this case, we have to use integration here. Okay, because it is a distributed charge. Okay, so how we will proceed this problem? Again, I think we have explained you about how to find the integration. Okay, how to break the rod of element. Okay, to break this rod, we have to take a very small point charge. We have to take a very small point charge Q at a distance of x. A small charge dq at a distance of x. Okay, then the small force due to this point charge dq df will be equal to what? K into q into dq, k into q k into q into dq by x square. Okay, that is a small force due to this point charge on the rod. Now if I have to find the total force, we need to integrate this. So integrate of df, that would be equal to what? Integration of k q dq by x square. Okay, now we know that on this charge on this rod of length L, the charge is q. So for unit length, it would be q by L. Okay, or we can say, wait. Okay, so what is the linear charge density here? The linear charge density here will be lambda. Okay, the linear charge density of the rod is lambda. And what is the magnitude of dq charge? That would be equal to lambda dot dx. So dq charge will be equal to lambda dot dx. So the net force F will be equal to integration of k q. dq is lambda dx divided by x square. Okay, now this x will vary from which point to which point? It is varying from A to L plus A. Okay, so this charge is varying from A to L plus A. Fine. Now if we integrate this, we'll get what? The net force F equal to K Q lambda. Lambda is the charge density. Integration of dx by x square. Limits from A to A plus L. Okay. So what is the integration of 1 by x square? The integration of 1 by x square is 1 by x. Okay. So k q lambda. Integration of 1 by x square is minus 1 by x. Limits A to A plus L. Okay. So after solving this, we get k q lambda L by A plus L into A. Okay. So we get the answer as k q lambda L by A plus L into A. So that is a net force. That is a force acting due to this rod. Okay, that is a net force acting due to this rod. Okay, fine. Next. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. Next problem. Okay, I think this problem you have must have solved. So let us do one more problem like this. That we have 2 point charges which are attached with the help of the thread. Okay, so it is a thread here. A 2 point charges which are attached with the help of the thread of length L and we have 2 point charges Q and Q. Okay, now both the string has a length L. Okay, we need to find the angle theta. Find angle theta which the string will make with vertical. The string will make with vertical. So we need to find this angle theta. Okay, now this is a length L. Fine, we have 2 point charges. Okay, that is hanged with the help of the string, insulating string. Okay, so we need to find this angle theta. Okay, now how we will solve this problem now? Now we know that the electrostatic force. First of all, these two charge will have mass also. Say let us suppose they have equal masses. Okay, both are having equal masses. Okay. Now if I find the net force acting on this bob of mass m and charge q, there are two forces which are acting on this bob. One is what? One is weight mg which is acting downward. Other is electrostatic force due to other point charge. And what is the value of the electrostatic force? That would be equal to kq square by. Now what is the distance between these 2 point charges? That is we have to find. Okay, the distance between these 2 point charges, this distance, the distance between these two charges. And what should be the value of this, the length between the 2 point charges? Now if you look at this is length L, this angle should be theta. So what should be the value of this? It should be L sine theta. And again from center it should be again L sine theta. Therefore distance between these 2 point charges is equal to how much? 2L sine theta. 2L sine theta whole square. Okay, so the electrostatic force acting on the bob will be kq square by 2L sine theta whole square. Mg is acting downward. Okay, now we have one more tension here. Okay, so this is your Mg which is acting downward, electrostatic force which is acting on this side. We have a tension T. That tension T will have two components. Okay, one will be balancing weight mg, other will be balancing electrostatic force. So if this is theta, this should be again be theta. So this would be what? T cos theta. This would be T sine theta. So if we balance the force along the x and y axis, so if we balance the force along x and y axis, then we get what? T sine theta, T sine theta should be equal to electrostatic force Fe, whose value is equal to how much? K q square by 2L sine theta whole square. Another force is what? T cos theta, that is balancing the weight mg. So if we divide the equation number 1 with equation number 2, so we get tan theta. So tan theta must be equal to what? Kq square by 4L square sine square theta by mg. Therefore, theta will be tan inverse of this value. Okay, theta will be the tan inverse of kq square by 4L square sine square theta by mg. That is the value here. Fine. So I think most of you have got the answer for this. Now next problem. In the same problem, the same condition we have taken. We have taken two bob which is attached with the help of the string. Okay, two bob which is attached with the help of the string like this. Okay, now we have taken 2 point charges. the charge on the two bobs are different. Now this is Q1, this is Q2 now. Okay, but the masses are same. Masses are same between the two point. Fine. Now the length of the string is L. Now let us suppose that the left hand side of the bob makes an angle theta 1 from the vertical, and the right side of the bob makes an angle theta 2 from the vertical. So we have four options. First option is that theta 1 equal to theta 2. Second, theta 1 greater than theta 2. Fourth, second, third option, theta 2 greater than theta 1. Or we can say data insufficient. We have fourth option. So what should be the correct answer in this case? We have 2 point charges, but different point charges are there. Q1 and Q2. Both masses are equal now. Both the masses are equal. Okay. So which would be the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Okay. So the answer would be, I hope you have solved the problem. If you have not solved, I'll give you 2 minutes for that. Okay. Now the correct answer for this is A. Why it is A? Because the force between the 2 point charges, okay, would be same. Say if I say what is the magnitude of that force F acting on the left side of the bob, that would be equal to K Q1 Q2 by distance between the 2 point charges. Distance between the 2 point charges again the same which we have found in the previous question, that is L sine theta and L sine theta, which means 2L sine theta. So can we write this as 2L sine theta? Okay, whole square. So that is the force acting on the left hand side of the bob. Similarly, the force acting on the right hand side of the bob, that would be equal to what? K Q1 Q2 by 2L sine theta whole square. Now, if you look at this force, this the net force acting on the bob in both the bobs. If we take both the balls or bob, the force will be Fe, F, and mg. Both forces are equal. So if the forces are equal, the angle which this ball will make from the vertical will be same. That is theta 1 will be equal to theta 2. Okay. So in this case, A is the correct option. Okay. Now similar question. If we change the mass, like if I take one more condition here, that again we have taken the two strings. We have taken the two string of same length L. Okay. We have two ball. Both have equal charges, say Q and Q, but the masses are different. Say M1 and this is mass M2, and we know that M1 is greater than M2. Now this bob makes an angle. Left hand side make an angle theta 1 from the vertical, and the right hand side make an angle theta 2. Now which will be the correct answer? A, theta 1 equal to theta 2. B, theta 1 greater than theta 2. C, theta 2 greater than theta 1. Okay, now which would be the correct answer? Now masses are different here. Mass M1 is greater than M2. Mass M1 is greater than M2. So you will need to find which of this will be correct answer. Okay. So what is the correct answer for this? Option A, option B, option C, or option D? Okay, M1 is greater than M2. Now if you look at the derivation which we have done here, the first part which we have done, this one, that this a tan theta is electrostatic force by mg. So from here we can say that theta, the angle which the ball will make from the vertical, is inversely proportional to mass or not. So from this expression we can say that theta is inversely proportional to mass. So if theta is inversely proportional to mass, can we write here as what? Theta is inversely proportional to mass, which means whose mass is more, theta will be less. So from here we can say that theta 1 should be lesser than theta 2. So the which option is correct now? C option. Why it is correct? Because theta, the angle which the ball will make from the vertical, is inversely proportional to mass. More is the mass, less is the angle theta which it will make. Okay. So since we know that m1 is more than m2, therefore the angle which m2 will make will be more than the angle which m1 is making from the vertical. So our answer is theta 2 is greater than theta 1. Okay. So if you have got the answer, it is very good. Okay. Now next problem. Okay. Now we have a condition here that again we have the two strings like this. We have the two strings of equal length. The string has equal length. Okay. And length is equal for both the strings. Both have the same charge and same mass. Say Q and M. This would be again Q and M. The length is same. Okay. Now in this particular case, these two balls are in equilibrium. They are in equilibrium when the angle is 45 degree from the vertical. So when the angle is 45 degree from the vertical, these two balls are in equilibrium. Okay. Now what we have done, we have we have taken both the balls. Okay. Now we have taken both the balls. We have slightly displaced this ball at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. We have slightly displaced both the balls at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. Okay. The charges is Q and M, Q and M. Okay. Now when we release the ball from this condition, what is the acceleration of the ball? What is the acceleration of the ball? When we release these ball from at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. Okay. We have to find the acceleration of the ball. Okay. So I think you have understood this problem or not. We have the two balls. They were at equilibrium at an angle of 45 degree from the vertical. The length of the string is L. Okay. Both the balls have the same charge Q and M. Okay. Now we are displacing this ball at an angle of 53 degree and we are releasing this ball. Okay. We need to find the acceleration of the ball when we release from this position at an angle of 53 degree. Okay. Can we solve this problem? Okay. So I'll give you 2 or 3 minutes to solve this problem. Okay. So let us do this problem now. Okay. So in the first case, the balls were in equilibrium. the balls are in equilibrium at an angle of 45 degree. Okay, the balls are in equilibrium at an angle of 45 degree from the vertical. Okay, this angle is 45 degree, 45 degree. Charge is Q, mass is M. Okay, now can we find the, okay, when it is in equilibrium, again we'll use the same method here. Then the electrostatic force acting on this ball will be F. Mg will be acting downward. Mg is acting downward. Then the tension component will balance the force F. T cos 45 and T sin 45 will balance. So we get what? The electrostatic force F equal to T cos 45 and weight mg is equal to T sin 45. Okay. Now, if we divide both, so we get what? The electrostatic force F will be equal to mg. So we get one expression as electrostatic force F equal to mg. Now, what is the value of the electrostatic force here? The electrostatic force value will be equal to K Q square by distance between the two charges whole square. Now, if you look at this, this length is L. Okay, so distance between them will be how much? L sine 45 plus L sine 45. Okay, so it would be what? L by root 2, L by root 2 plus L by root 2, which is equal to how much? 2 times of L by root 2, or we can write here as root 2L whole square must be equal to mg. So from here we get one expression that 2mg must be equal to kq square by L square. So we get one equation here. Okay, this equation is there when the 2 point charges are at an angle of 45 degree, fine, and they are in equilibrium. Now second case is that we are displacing this, we are displacing the point charges. We are displacing the point charges at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. So let us draw this again. We are displacing the charges at an angle of 53 degree from the equilibrium. Now, if we draw the free body diagram of this, at this condition, we have electrostatic force Fe acting along the line joining the two charges. Okay, mg is acting downward. Okay, mg is acting downward. Okay, now what is the magnitude of the charge now? The magnitude of the charge will be equal to k q square by distance square. Now, what is the distance now? Now, if you look at this case, this is length L. This angle is 53 degree. What is the value of this? That is L sine 53. This will again be L sine 53, which means the distance between the 2 point charge will be D equal to 2L sine 53. 2L sine 53. And what is the value of sine 53? That is equal to how much? That is equal to, I think, 4 by 5. 4 by 5. So we get 8L by 5. So distance between the 2 point charges now become 8L by 5. So the electrostatic force becomes KQ square by D square. D square is 8L by 5 whole square. Mg will remain mg. This bob is accelerating on the tangential direction. So we have to find that force is acting on the tangential direction. So if I have to find the force on the tangential direction, then we have to find the component of the force. Okay. So component of the force will be equal to what? This is 53. This is 37, 90, 53, 37, 53. Okay. So this would be what? Fe cos 53. And the component of the weight along the tangential, that is mg, will be mg sine 53. Okay. That is the net force acting along the tangential direction. So if we apply the Newton's second law here, the net force should be equal to mass into acceleration of the ball. Okay, what is the net force? Net force is mg sine 53 degree minus fe cos 53 degree is the net force that must be equal to mass of the ball, that is m, into acceleration. That is a tangential acceleration which is acting on the bob, that is mg sine 53 minus fe. Fe is the electrostatic force acting at that particular point. Okay, cos 53 by mass m equal to tangential acceleration. Fine. Now, if we solve this problem now, so we get what? Tangential acceleration must be equal to mg cos sine 53 is 4 by 5 minus electrostatic force. Now, electrostatic force acting at this particular point is kq square by 8l by 5 whole square. Okay, that would be equal to how much? That must be equal to 25 kq square by 64l square. 64l square. Okay, that is the electrostatic force acting at that particular point. Okay, so net force is mg cos 53 minus fe. Fe value we are getting here as 25 by 64 k q square by l square into cos 53. Cos 53 is 3 by 5 divided by mass m. Okay, and from the first expression we have found this expression that 2mg is equal to kq square by l square. So we can replace the kq square by l square by 2mg. So if we can replace this, so we get what? We get 4mg by 5 minus 25 by 64. Kq square by L square is 2mg. So we are replacing with 2mg here. 2mg into 3 by 5 divided by mass m. Okay, fine. I think we can solve this now. If you can solve, we get the answer around 53g by 175. That is a tangential acceleration when we release the ball at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. Okay, fine. I hope you understand this problem now. You can again see this problem. This is a very good problem which we have discussed now. So I'll repeat again that we have two balls of mass m, charge is q. These two balls are in equilibrium at an angle of 45 degree from the vertical. Okay, now we are slightly displacing the point charges at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical, and then we are releasing the ball at that particular point. You have to find the acceleration at that instant when we release the ball at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical. Okay, now first of all what we have to do, we have to find the value of the electrostatic force when it is in equilibrium. So when it is in equilibrium, then the electrostatic force acting will be kq square by root 2l whole square. That is will be balancing by weight mg. Okay, so from here we got one expression that 2mg must be equal to kq square by l square. This is the expression which we are getting when the balls are in equilibrium condition. Now next, when we slightly displace this ball at an angle of 53 degree from the vertical, then you have to find the acceleration there. So we have to first of all find the net force acting along the tangential direction. So the component of the force which is acting along the tangential is Fe cos 53 and mg sine 53. Since the ball is moving downward, then component that mg sine 53 will be greater than Fe cos 53. So the net force acting on this will be mg sine 53 minus Fe cos 53 by m equal to tangential acceleration. Okay, now we have to find the electrostatic force acting on that point charge at this particular instant. The electrostatic force will be kq square by distance whole square. Now distance at this particular instant is L sine 53 plus L sine 53. That is 2L sine 53. So distance is 8L by 5. So electrostatic force is kq square by 8L by 5 whole square. So we get the electrostatic force at this instant is 25 kq square by 64 L square. Okay. So when we place this value, so we get tangential acceleration as mg into 4 by 5 minus 25 by 64 kq square by L square into 3 by 5. After solving, we'll get the tangential acceleration as 53 g by 75. Okay. So I think the time is now getting over.
Okay, Upmanyu sir, sorry to interrupt. I need to tell one instruction to the students.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, students, please listen. Can you all hear me? Can somebody text me in the chat box? Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. Thank you. So now your schedule for this particular week will be like the first session you will have maths, then you will have chemistry, then you will have physics. After that, you won't have any classes for JEE, those who have taken computer science or informatic practice as an optional. Others, those who have taken biology as optional, has to log in through the batch 2 link that I will be sharing it in the chat also, and you have to attend the biology classes from 2:20 onwards. I hope it is clear to you. Upmanyu sir, if you want, you can show the slides once again.
Okay, I'll show.
Yeah.
Okay, I think one clock problem is there, sir. Can I explain them again?
Yeah, please do that, sir. Because they have to
Okay,
attend
so
another
clock
class.
problem one.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, I'll explain in 2 minutes. Okay, so if you look at the clock here, we are placing the charges at the clock. Like at 12 p.m. At 12 p.m. we have 12 coulomb charge. At 1 a.m. At 1 we have 1 coulomb charge. At 2 we have 2 coulomb. 3 we have 3 coulomb. 4, 5, 6. Like this, we are placing the charge on the clock, and we are placing a unit charge. We are placing unit charge at the center of the clock. We are placing the unit charge at the center of the clock. Now we have to find the net force acting on this point charge Q, which is placed at the center of the charge. Now just look at the concept here. If you look at the clock, 1 coulomb and 7 coulombs are exactly opposite to each other. 2 coulomb and 8 coulomb are exactly opposite. 3 and 9 are exactly opposite. 4 and 10 are exactly opposite. 5 and 11 are exactly opposite. And 6 and 11, 12 are exactly opposite. Now, if we take these two charges only, 1 coulomb and 7 coulomb, then the electrostatic force due to 7 coulomb on the center will be equal to what? It will be equal to K into 1 into 7 by A square, where A is the distance between these two charges. Okay. And the electrostatic force by 1 coulomb on the center will be K1 into 1 by A square. Now, since 1 and 7 are exactly opposite each other, the net force acting due to 1 coulomb and 7 coulomb will be equal to what? K 7 K by A square minus K by A square, which means net force acting between 1 coulomb and 7 coulomb is 6 K by A square. Similarly, you go for 2 and 8 coulomb. If you find for 2 and 8 coulomb, again you will get the net force as F same. That is Kq by K into 6. Again, the magnitude will come as 6 K by A square. Similarly, this will again come as 6 K by A square. Okay. All the net force magnitude will be same. Okay. Then we need to find the component along the x-axis and then find the net force. Okay. I hope you have cleared this doubt. Okay, sir. So can we?
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Once again, I just want to tell the students